201 was the best I've ever seen any bodybuilder, and I've been to a lot of shows.
Everybody said that.
You was 257, and I remember
47.
How much? 247?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at you, I'm like, I don't believe any bodybuilder, even at their peak, could beat Ronnie today. I'm talking about Lee, I'm talking about Dorian, I'm talking about Samir. Yep. I'm talking about, no, at that point in time, Ronnie.
Everybody said that. Everybody said
Did
that.
you know when you went into the, obviously you looking at yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you knew that you're like, it's over. Y'all ain't got no chance.
Yeah, I ain't got no chance.
What's up, everybody? It's Manny Brandon from Mannys Fitnessfortress, the citadel of power. Today we're going to go down memory lane and delve into the history of iconic bodybuilder Ronnie Coleman, 8-time Mr. Olympia winner and Hall of Famer bodybuilder Ronnie Coleman with Shannon Sharp from Skipping Shannon. All that coming up right now. Thanks for tuning back to the channel. Please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Follow my journey with all my content, fitness, nutrition, wellness, and other conversations like this. One of my heroes growing up was bodybuilding legends Ronnie Coleman, along with Dorian Yates and Lee Haney. Today we're going to go into some of the things that delve into his history and allowed him to become and rise to be the champion he was. He's such a very humble and meek individual. It's very rare that you combine physical prowess, power, and a humble mindset. But all that encompasses this person we're talking about today. All of you know Shannon Sharp from the Skipping Shannon show. His channel blew up from the Cat Williams debacle interview. But lately he's been diversifying and going into and interviewing celebrity athletes. And I'm just ecstatic that he's decided to put bodybuilders in that fray, starting with Phil Heath. Ronnie Coleman has a really interesting conversation talking to Shannon about how he grew up, how he really wasn't, had any mindset of being a bodybuilder. First starting off, he was just a guy that did powerlifting, didn't know anything about the sport. Ultimately, got a job as a pizza delivery guy, manager and delivery guy, and all he ate was pasta, all he ate was pizza. The guys around the surrounding stores enabled him to mix up his pizza diet with other things. So he would trade off foods with people from Taco Bell, with Kentucky Fried Chicken to get his protein that way. So I find these stories very interesting. So many of these greats have very humble beginnings. Ronnie did not have a gym membership. He was really broke, dead broke. Had just got a car and had the Domino's Pizza delivery job to pay for the car. So he had no money, no wiggle room for anything else. Brian Dobbins of Metroflex Gym approached him and said, "Man, you're kind of big. Where are you from? You should get into bodybuilding." And Ronnie said, "I don't have any interest in that. I can't do no bodybuilding. I just got a job ultimately later on with the police department and as an internship, and I got to concentrate on that. I don't have no money for nothing else, and I definitely can't do the diet because I'm a pizza delivery, Kentucky Fried Chicken eating powerlifter." And then 3 days later, Brian came back to him and said, "I'll tell you what, you do this bodybuilding show coming up, I'll give you a free gym membership." Ronnie is going over this story several times in history when he's had interviews with people. Ronnie said, "Why didn't you leave with that? Shoot, anything free is good to me." So that's very interesting. And I found a lot of similarities in that beginning as well as my own, because it was really a struggle. And learning about bodybuilding early, 15, 16 years of age, you had to know how to balance your money to buy the food you needed for powerlifting, whatever. Even before I had an extensive knowledge of bodybuilding, you had to know how to balance your food, money for rent, money for, paying your mom, rent or whatever, your car note, insurance, and expenses that you need for school, college, or whatever. So that was very interesting, and I thought it was a very good story that I could also resonate with.
My dream did what I always wanted to do, make the top 5. 5th place call, it wasn't me. I'm like, wait a minute now. something going on here. Fourth place call wasn't me. I'm like, oh man. Every time it came time for a name to be called, I'm expecting to hear my name. My heart that I was gonna get second place, because they already said Flex was gonna win.
Right.
So I'm thinking the whole time they gonna call Flex name for first, and I can remember like yesterday. They called out Flex name for second, and I'm like, and called me out for first. I'm like, oh man, they done made a mistake. Only thing I remember was Vicky coming on stage and helping me get off that floor. Flex came over and said something to me. When I got up, I'm like, oh man, I don't want the Olympia.
Most people in the bodybuilding industry and the bodybuilding world know that Ronnie Coleman was actually a powerlifter before he got into bodybuilding. Nothing on a national level, but he incorporated that training style that actually built his physique before he ever stepped on stage. And I kind of took the same route. Out of high school, I was into powerlifting right after high school and in my college years, and I really got a good foundation from deadlifts, bench, and squats, weighted dips, all types of compound movements. It was a very great interview that Shannon had with Ronnie as they were talking actually before the actual sit-down interview, when he was going over certain concepts and certain strategies in his training while they were working out. So on the podcast, they actually did a chest workout in Metroflex gym. And it was amazing just seeing Ronnie, even at this age, his body's kind of broken down, but he was just going over the iconic strategies that he used, like never locking out all the way, but keeping the pump, going 3/4 up for the rep. He said that helped him engage the muscle more and actually helped him get bigger. They went around and did certain chest movements, but also visited the iconic areas in the gym where he did these legendary lifts, like the 800-pound deadlift for 2 reps. That was phenomenal. Lightweight, baby, all day. And also the 800-pound squat, which to this day, Ronnie proclaims that he still regrets not getting another 3 or 4. And I can relate, because I've done lifts where deadlifts or squats where I kind of second guessed myself, or I didn't want to risk it, but I knew I could have got another 2 reps if I had really turned up and like buckled down and fired away. But nevertheless, the most amazing thing about these lifts that Ronnie did at that time is, at least for one of them, I know this squat, I believe, or maybe it was a deadlift, he was dry, he was depleted. He was actually 2 to 4 weeks out from a show. 2 to 4 weeks out from a show. Anyone who knows anything about bodybuilding shows is you're depleted. Your tendons and ligaments don't have the water fullness and elasticity that they normally would have. You're drier. Your hydration throughout your entire body overall is lower. And there's a lot more chance of injury through muscle tears and stuff like that. Ronnie had no fear. And they say that you get injured from things like that, like weakened tendons and things like that, but they also say you get weakened from second guessing yourself. If you like halfway through the movement, second guess yourself, not confident, not just driving and pulling it all the way through. And I found that to be true. So I think with the fact that he had the mentality, the confidence, like, I'm gonna get this, it ain't no problem. You know, I'm going all in. There is no fail, there is no stop, there is no failure. He had that mindset. And iconically, Ronnie never got injured actually doing any of his lifts. So the deadlift platform station, iconic, legendary 2 reps. He could have done more on that. The iconic squat, he said he could have done 4 more. And he said he didn't want to risk fate, but he really felt disappointed that he didn't get more, that he didn't go down for more, because he felt it was super easy. And also he said that because of that, he said, I'm just going to make up for it and go over to the leg press and put 2,300 pounds on a restructured, like refortified leg press machine that was previously broken. And I think they said something like 9 reps. But I'm going to try to put the link in the description, guys, so you guys can go and watch the entire interview. But Ronnie was one of my heroes. And the thing that really got me bumped and motivated in bodybuilding was kind of on the tail of Lee Haney's reign, but when Dorian Yates came into the fray, he took the bodybuilding physique to another level where combining mass and quality and detail had never been seen before. So after Ronnie and Dorian, bodybuilding really, the size and detail combination declined. It really has. It's not the same right now today. Now, Ronnie is an educated man. He had a degree in accounting. And after going through that, while being a power lifter, he actually did a slew of applications and interviewed for jobs. And he said every job that he went to, they said, well, we need some experience. We need someone with experience. He said, well, you give me the job and I'll give you some experience. So because he had a sitting degree, he was sitting on an accounting degree, he couldn't get a job in accounting. He very well just kept looking into the newspaper ads, and he found at that time, back in those days, police officer recruitments, no experience necessary. So he got in there, I think it was like some type of like an internship type of situation, first couple weeks or months, but eventually got into a police academy. So now he had a paying job that allowed him to use his mind and body. And of course, increased revenue. That was all she wrote. He actually bodybuilded and remained on the police force for years while doing both at the same time. And it was really kind of stressful as far as time constraints. After Ronnie started bodybuilding, he got into the mode of trying to schedule his meals on the job where he could get in all his meals, because he may be in a police car, he may be sitting down in the district inside this police station. He might have been finished just conveying or interviewing a suspect, but he really found ways that he really had to squeeze in his meals, because having to eat 5 or 6 meals a day, most of those meals would have to come during his work hours. And that's a real struggle and a challenge for a lot of bodybuilders. And I can attest to that. I find myself eating meals right before I'm walking to work, actually before lunch, because I gotta take care of stuff after lunch, but you have to squeeze them in any way you can. So he had a solidified job as an officer, and he enjoys it. He speaks adamantly about being a police officer. He says, I love it, that's why I do it. People said after he became a bodybuilder and won Mr. Olympia, why did he stay on the force? He says, just like bodybuilding, because I love it. Throughout his reign, I think right after the first Arnold Classic, beginning with the first Mr. Olympia that Ronnie won, he hooked up with Chad Nichols, and Ronnie and Shannon had a really good conversation about balancing, proteins and macronutrients to get the desired effect, because you can't come on stage too flat, you can't come on too bloated, you can't come on like off your peak, too full water retention. So you have to really balance your carbs, your proteins, your water. They talked extensively about insulin, which pushes carbs into the muscles faster, getting rid of water. And he speaks, I love this story because low key, Kevin Levrone and Flex Wheeler are kind of single-handedly responsible for creating the monster that is Ronnie Coleman, that allowed him to win. Because if he didn't learn this from them, he may have learned later on down the line. He probably would have never won that Arnold Classic and that first Mr. Olympia those years. Kevin Levrone got woken up by Ronnie Coleman at midnight, the night before their show. He went to his hotel room and said, listen, Ronnie said, why in the world, how you guys coming in shredded in all this great shape? How you guys coming in detail, dialed in all these damn contests? What the heck are you guys doing? He said Kevin Levrone poured a cup of coffee and then he got some whiskey, a vodka. He poured the vodka inside the coffee. And Ronnie said, what the hell is that? What the hell are you gonna do with that? He said, drink this. Ronnie said, I don't drink no coffee, no Ricker, no vodka, man. Kevin Levrone said, you wanna know what I do to win? Drink this. I guess the night before, 24 hours before the show. Everybody doesn't know, alcohol drives you out. It's not really a diuretic in the sense that coffee is, or like tea, or asparagus, or a natural or a synthetic diuretic, but it dries you out. Alcohol gets rid of your water. So it will make you look vascular, it'll bring out the muscle detail. Coffee is already a real natural diuretic. So if you combine the two, it makes sense. Bodybuilding contest prep is all about science. That's all it is. It's about science. The hard work is done, the grudge work, the grunt work is done in the gym leading up to contest. The contest prep outside of the training is all science. The recovery, the sleep, the insulin they use, the water, the retention of water, the release of water, the proteins, the carbs, the macros. It's all science. So once you understand how the body works, you can bring in the detail and create a magnificent physique. So he says he woke up the next morning and he won. He beat Kevin. And the Arnold Classic was so crazy because Kevin was expected to win. Other people that were far higher in the rankings than Ronnie were expected to win, but he beat Kevin. So that was a very interesting story. Flex Wheeler, as we all know, he actually told Ronnie, listen, you want to do what the big dogs do, you want to win like we win, but you got to do what the big dogs do. And he actually introduced, Ronnie Coleman to anabolics, to gear, and he hooked up with Chad Nichols. And after that, it was never the same because Ronnie had the foundation, the structure, the massive muscle, the massive structure and physique to when combined with the gear that everybody else was taking. Ronnie's work ethic, genetics, and desire just trumped everybody else's, just like Dorian's did. So that explains all that. And I was just like, I said, man, there's friends that would never do that because they'd be afraid of someone to surpass them. But Ronnie wasn't even on anybody's radar. So they was like, okay, I'll just help him out. Worst mistake in history for the competitors. Last thing I want to mention is something that's really helped me. Ronnie very often used to go over mental tricks to help get food down, especially in bodybuilding, a world where you have to get your carbs in, you got to get your calories down. And two things can happen where you think you're full, but you still got to get 2 more meals down according to your coach, or you end up having to eat foods that are not necessarily in tune with your taste buds. Like they're just not very appeasable. So one thing you do, you can add certain condiments or additives to food to enhance their flavor to get them down. And Ronnie used to do that with a lot of foods. You like French fries, but you really shouldn't eat the French fries a lot the way the processed, the chemicals and the outside restaurants are making them, the fast food chains. So Ronnie used to chop up the potatoes, char them, crinkle them, bake them, fry them a certain way where they taste better than the store-bought fast food sweet potato or fast food French fries. Pour ketchup on them, and that's what Ronnie did a lot. He would use ketchup for chicken because at times cut up chicken breast could be dry, but you got to get that in with your veggies and your other meals. He would pour ketchup on a lot of things, and I found that if you're not really hungry, but you got to get a meal down, or if someone just didn't flavor certain meat, certain protein a certain way, if you're eating someone else's food and there's no salt, or you want to keep your sodium down, just put ketchup on that. There's organic ketchup and sugar-free. Ketchup enhances the taste of French fries, steak, chicken, boneless chicken, skinless chicken, breasts and thighs. It's amazing. There's a couple other condiments that you can put on top of food to totally mask or enhance the flavor of food, and Ronnie did that a lot. So that was the one thing I really learned that could really up my size. Drinking spring water and lime water to help aid in digestion. There's certain things you got to do to help aid in digestion, so to break the food down, and then just make it palatable, make it appealable to eat in the first place. And Ronnie was the king of that. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane. He's one of my favorite iconic bodybuilders, he and Dorian Yates. I hope Shannon Sharp does an interview with Dorian Yates. That would be amazing. Thank you so much for listening. Like, share, comment. If you guys are interested in any merch from Mannys Fitness Fortress, just DM me and follow me on Instagram at Mannys Fitness Fortress, TikTok as Mannys Fitness Fortress, and on Facebook, Manny Brandon. Thank you guys. See you later. Boom!